name is Carter Jewell, and I will be giving an informative speech over Tourette syndrome. Tourette syndrome is a very complicated disorder, yet is one of the most commonly diagnosed around the world. Most cases are diagnosed between the ages of 3 to 9. Sometimes it is possible for patients to grow out of the syndrome, but others result in lifelong symptoms. The diagnosis is also often linked with the diagnosis of ADHD. I am 17 years old now, and I was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome when I was only 9. I will be talking to you about what it is like living with Tourette's. I will be explaining the medical side of the syndrome and also digging deeper to show what it is like from a personal perspective. What is Tourette syndrome? Tourette syndrome is a neurological disorder characterized by the involuntary tics and vocalizations, and often the compulsive utterance of obscenities. The disorder is named for Dr. Georges de la Tourette, the pioneering French neurologist who in 1885 first described the condition to an 86-year-old French noblewoman. There are two types of tics, motor tics and vocal phonic tics. Motor tics are physical actions made involuntarily and range widely from simple to complex movements. Vocal tics produce sounds, something as quiet as a sniffle to something as loud as yelling. In 10 to 15% of cases, the words may be inappropriate. For example, swear words, ethnic slurs, and other socially unacceptable words or phrases. Tourette syndrome is classified as genetic. However, the inheritance pattern is still unclear. The characteristics of this condition can cluster in families, but is also thought to be influenced by genetic and environmental factors. My symptoms became more prominent at the beginning of my 3rd grade year. I had been getting in trouble very often. My parents would talk with the teacher about it and had many sit-down meetings with me at home about my behavior. After a while, my parents, my teacher, and I had taken notice that my behavior was very repetitive and uncontrollable. This is when my parents realized a doctor's visit might be helpful in figuring out what was going on. I was diagnosed with Tourette's during my visit to the doctor. My tics were generally motor tics, but have evolved into mostly vocal tics. While I was early in the stages after the diagnosis, my tics would consist of clicking my pen, fidgeting in my seat, tapping my foot, and twirling my hair. As the years have passed, I have developed new tics, such as mouth fidgeting, knuckle cracking, volume control issues with being too loud, and slight profanity. Focusing in school was difficult and is still something I struggle with today. At first, living with Tourette syndrome was very difficult in my teenage years, but I have learned to embrace it and that it's just a part of who I am. Not all cases of Tourette's are severe. In fact, you might even know someone with a mild form of the syndrome. According to the U.S. National Library of Health, Tourette's affects 1 to 10 in every 1,000 children. Tourette's is a common syndrome and nothing to be afraid of. If you see someone exhibiting tics, don't stare or make fun of the person. Just treat them with kindness and understand it is out of their control. Thank you.